Hello, hello, hello. I am super excited. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay this time. I am back from Pennsylvania where I was at the Center County Grange Fair, as I mentioned. It was the 150th anniversary, and the last couple of weeks was very cool. So it was really neat to be able to see and enjoy just so many different things with everybody. So thank you for those of you tuning in live. I can see the counter is going up, so thank you so much for that. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask. Today, we're going to be talking about the anti-sleaze sales method. So, I don't know. I've had my own business for over 10 years now, and I would say the number one question that gets brought up is, what do you think of sales? Nobody likes to sell. Nobody likes sales, right? And it's very, very true. Nobody likes sales. Nobody likes selling, and nobody likes being sold to. But that's why I love what I do, because I don't ever feel it is sales, right? I feel like I'm adding value to people, and that's where I'm adding in what I have to offer. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. We'll share just the entire screen because that makes life easier in the whole tech business, right? So let me bring up my notes because that's always the tricky piece. Okay. So I'm the founder of KendraCorman.com. I've had a full service marketing agency for over 10 years, and I've been helping coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and even larger businesses grow with authenticity. And that's the key, I think, to the non-sleazy sales method. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to approach sales, marketing, and more to make it a little bit more of an enjoyable process. If you've tuned into any of my other live videos, you are aware that what I've been talking about is leveraging LinkedIn for more sales. And you can get that in the link that I will have again coming up here. I've got a little guide on how to basically get people off of LinkedIn or off of social media, right? And get them onto your email list, because that's really where you can make a difference and build a relationship. That's where the anti-sleaze sales method comes in. Again, you're not alone. A lot of people don't like to promote themselves. It's bragging, right? And they struggle with that. They don't want to be pushy, aggressive, or just, they sometimes feel that it's not aligned with who they are. And I think that that's a serious situation, and it's valid, right? So let's go ahead and talk about building genuine relationships and serving your clients first so that you can sell without having an icky feeling. So before we dive into the solution, let's talk a little bit about the problem. Why is it that so many people struggle with sales? Well, traditional sales tactics often feel pushy or insincere, or it feels like a game. When you're trying to help people through coaching or consulting or whatever value you add, the last thing you want to come off as is someone trying to close a deal. It just feels misaligned with the values that you had in the first place. So I want you to think about the impact of those pushy sales tactics on your potential clients. If they feel like they're being sold rather than helped, they're going to push back, and it's going to be a harder sale. They start to doubt whether or not you really have their best interests at heart, and that can prevent them from engaging with you totally. So that brings us to the key shift. I want you to do a mindset shift that's actually technically not very hard for a lot of people. Serve first, sell second. When you focus on serving your potential clients, truly understanding their needs and offering genuine value, you start to build trust. And trust is the foundation of any successful relationship, right? Trust is the key of every relationship. So instead of leading with a sale, we're going to lead with service. This is the heart of the anti-sleaze sales method. And again, like I said, I've been asked 100 different times in 100 different ways and seen 100 different polls where a lot of people say they hate selling, right? But I never feel like I'm selling because I'm always trying to serve first. And I think that that's key. So let's talk a little bit about the core of this method. It's one simple but powerful principle: generosity. The idea is to start with giving, not asking. You always hear you got to give to receive. I know a lot of people on LinkedIn coaches and experts that will tell you got to give to get. And it is so true in everything. So instead of jumping right into a sales pitch, I want you to focus on providing that value to potential clients from the beginning. Now, the last couple of lives, we've talked about your lead magnet and marketing your lead magnet and getting people to join your email list and then giving them value. That is the core of what this is. That is why you're providing that lead magnet and starting there. Now, when you give freely, whether it's advice, resources, or just a little bit of your time, if you have it, you build trust. And trust is what turns a skeptical prospect into a loyal client. They need to feel you genuinely care about helping them before they're ever going to consider investing in your services. The long-term benefits of this are huge. Not only does it make the sales process more enjoyable for you, but it creates a stronger, more loyal client base. And who doesn't want that? These clients aren't just buying a service, they're building a relationship with someone they trust. And that's really valuable, right? So as we move forward, I want you to keep this principle of generosity in mind. It's the foundation of everything we're going to cover in the rest of this presentation. And my goal is not to take a ton of your time and to give you a little bit of time back in your day. But let's go ahead and dive into the heart of the Anti-Sleaze Method, which is the 5 pillars that are going to guide you into applying this approach in your business. Each pillar represents a key strategy that, when combined, creates a sales process that feels authentic, natural, and effective. Look, I'm not a sales expert, but I've built a business and been in business for 10 years. So this process isn't vetted by any sales expert or anything like that. But this process is about communication and building relationships. And that is at the core of every piece of marketing that I work to do. And that's why I feel I am approved to say this message and share that with you. So the first pillar is what I like to call the value vault. This is about sharing free, valuable content regularly. Think about it as a treasure chest of resources that your audience can access without any strings attached. Sometimes it's a story, an insight, in a blog post, a video, a mini training, something like this, right? This content serves 2 purposes. It provides immediate value to your audience, and it positions you as an expert in your field. By consistently offering helpful tips, tricks, and insights, you're not only helping your potential clients solve their problems, but you're also demonstrating your expertise in a way that feels genuine. This approach helps build trust long before any money changes hands, which is essential if you are creating a lasting client relationship. Now, let's go ahead and talk about all of these other pillars. So the value vault, we talked a little bit about the importance of sharing free, valuable content regularly. We talked about that in last week's live and the live of the week before that, because this is really the core. This is that generosity. When you offer valuable content without asking for anything in return, you're demonstrating your expertise in a way that builds trust. People start to see you as a go-to resource in your field. They can rely on you for helpful information, which makes them more likely to trust you when it comes time to consider paid services. You also happen to be top of mind if you're sending them this information through an email on a consistent basis. One of the key benefits of the Value Vault is that it allows you to build a relationship with potential clients before you ever ask for a sale. You're providing them with solutions to their problems, which naturally leads them to view you as someone who cares about their success, who understands their problems, who understands where they're coming from. The more you can solve their pain points with your free content, the more likely they're to turn to you for their paid services when they're ready to take that next step. And sometimes they could not be ready for a year, 6 months, 3 months. But again, if you keep showing up and you keep adding the value, when they're ready, you are the only choice that they have. And again, if you fill your value vault with high quality, relevant content, You're setting the foundation for a sales process that feels natural and client-centered. I have never, ever had anyone tell me that they regretted giving away too much information. I have a lot of people that are struggling with sales who say that they don't want to give away too much, but I've never had anybody that gave away a bunch of information that didn't feel that they were rewarded. Okay, moving on to pillar 2. This is the problem solver. The pillar is all about listening to your potential clients, identifying their pain points, and offering quick, actionable advice. This is really important because this is a piece that people skip and forget all the time, right? I want you to listen to your potential clients, not hypothetically. I want you to really listen to your potential clients, okay? You want to hear them say the words, pick the words that they're going to use for what they're struggling with. One of the most powerful things that you can do as a coach or consultant is to truly understand the problems your clients are facing. When you listen and respond with solutions that address their specific needs and situations, you're not just showing that you care, you're positioning yourself as the expert they've been looking for. Because so many other people are, I'll use a Sandler sales term because I actually do like the Sandler sales method. If you want any more information about that, let me know and I can hook you up with somebody. But the Sandler sales method, they say, don't spill your candy in the lobby. So that means when you start your conversation, you don't start talking. What do they call it? The alligator effect or the crocodile effect? You've got, do not be an alligator because you've got, 2 ears and 1 mouth. Don't be using your mouth all the time. Make sure you're using your ears and really think about where your audience is coming from. Now, the problem solver approach is about being proactive. Instead of waiting for someone to come to you and ask for help, what you want to do is be on the lookout for ways to add value. Again, this goes back to the listening to real potential customers. It might involve with you asking them questions, whether it's through a quick tip in a social media comment, a thoughtful email response, a personalized piece of content. You can solve problems in real time. This helps you stand out because it shows you're not just interested in making a sale, you're genuinely committed to helping people improve their lives. And when people see that, they're much more likely to trust you and eventually invest in your coaching services. So remember, by being the problem solver, you're not only serving your audience, you're establishing yourself as the go-to expert. That's the key, right? That's the piece behind the generosity. Now, the third pillar of the Anti-Sleaze Sales Method is the relationship builder. And again, I believe relationship building is the core of everything that we do. I was on a podcast not too long ago. I think it might have been last year, 2023. And in 2023, it was one of the most listened to podcast episodes by this podcaster. And the reason why is because it was all about relationship building and how important relationships are at the core of all of marketing. So when you shift your focus from transactions to connections, instead of thinking about how to close the next sale, think about how to connect, right? Think about how to build a relationship. What can you do for that person, not what they can do for you? One of the books I was reading, I'm trying to remember. Oh, dang it. Now I don't remember which one it was. So one of the books I was reading earlier this summer had talked about how he was at a event with, was one of my productivity books. This is going to bother me. He was at an event with Richard Branson, and everybody was talking to Richard about what they do and trying to figure out how Richard could help him. This one person sat there and was trying to think about what he had to offer to Richard. He left with Richard's personal email and phone number. That's the power of a relationship builder, is thinking about others first and creating and giving to get. And, again, thinking about what you can bring to that person on how you can help them, not how they can help you. So think about people want to work with someone that they know, like, and trust. By focus on creating real connections, you're laying a groundwork for long-term relationship that goes beyond that single transaction. You start by engaging with your audience in meaningful ways. This could be through personalized follow-ups, thoughtful responses to comments and messages. Keep in mind, I said thoughtful. Yes, you can use AI to respond to someone's comments, but be careful. My friend Brenda Meller, who I've talked about numerous times on these lives, because she is truly a LinkedIn expert, gets a lot of AI generated comments on her stuff. All they are is restating whatever it is that she wrote. That's not adding value. That's not thoughtful. Yes, AI can help you come off a little bit more thoughtful and add a little bit more sparkle to your comments, but the content really still needs to come from you, or the direction for it, okay? But simply taking time to remember small details about their lives. It's these little touches that make people feel valued and understood. Don't we all want to feel that way? Another key aspect of being a relationship builder is consistency. And I talk about this all the time. I feel like I'm a broken record when it comes to consistency. Regularly check in with clients, prospects, not just when you want to sell something, but because you genuinely care about how they're doing. This keeps the lines of communication open and reinforces the trust and connection you've built. Now, it doesn't have to be manual all the time, look in your Facebook feed and see who's got a birthday coming up. If someone mentions something, sending them an article. Physical mail is very powerful, but also an email. Just showing up consistently builds trust. And by prioritizing relationships over transactions, you're going to find that sales will naturally follow. When people feel that you truly care about them and their success, they're much more likely to choose you as their coach or consultant and recommend you to others, which is really important. The fourth pillar is the soft sell storyteller. This is about using the power of storytelling, which who doesn't love a story? And that's to showcase the impact of your coaching services without coming across as pushy or overly salesy. Stories are one of the most effective ways to connect with people on an emotional level. So by sharing real life examples of how your coaching has transformed your clients' lives, you're able to demonstrate the value of your services that feel natural and engaging. You want to highlight their struggles, their breakthroughs, how they achieve their goals, with your guidance being a subtle part of that story. People can see that clearly. For example, instead of saying, I helped my clients double their income, you could say, my client was able to double their income after implementing a few strategic changes that we worked on together. Watching them achieve that success was incredibly rewarding. This approach keeps the spotlight on the client's success while subtly weaving in the impact of your coaching or consulting. This will help potential clients see themselves in the stories you share. They can envision their own success and are more likely to be drawn to your services because they see the results you've helped others achieve. The goal here is to inspire, not to sell. Now, the final pillar is the invitation, not the pitch. This approach is about reframing the way you offer your services. Instead of pushing for a sale, you extend an invitation for your potential clients to explore how you can help them achieve their goals. Think about this as creating opportunities for exploration, like a discovery call, rather than making hard sells. Hard sells, nobody wants a hard sell. When you invite someone to learn more about what you offer, it's a gentle nudge rather than a forceful push. It's an invitation to have a conversation, to see if there's a good fit, and to explore possibilities together. This method is particularly effective because it's client focused. It's not about you or your services. It's about them and their needs. Notice it's about them, not you. You're offering them a chance to take the next step in their journey with no pressure. That's super powerful. So instead of saying you should sign up for my coaching program, you can say, hey, if you're interested in taking your growth to the next level, I'd love to chat about how we might work together. No pressure, just an opportunity to explore whether or not this is the right fit for you. This feels more supportive, right? It doesn't feel like a sales pitch. It does let me know that you're selling something, which I think is important too. But it makes sure that potential clients are more open to the idea. By framing your offers as invitations, you're invited, right? You create a sense of curiosity and openness. Clients feel empowered to make decisions based on their needs and timing, which leads to more genuine and lasting commitments. Okay, so we've talked about the 5 pillars, right? So let's talk a little bit about how you can implement this approach in your own coaching business or consulting business. The key here is integration. It's aligning these principles with your current marketing strategy so they naturally become part of how you interact. I would say that the hardest part, or the really isn't a hard part to this. I think it's an easier part. Instead of staring at the screen with the cursor blinking and nothing to think about, this sales method gives you ideas on how to frame what you're writing. So I want you to look at your existing content, your existing posts. Where can you start incorporating more value-driven content? How can you shift your messaging to be more about serving and less about selling? So maybe enhance your email newsletters with more actionable tips. Create a more in-depth blog post that addresses a specific client pain point. Offer some exclusive insights. Go live, right? I want you to be, though, mindful of some common pitfalls. One of the biggest mistakes coaches and consultants make when implementing any sales method is being too passive, especially one like this. The anti-sleaze sales method isn't about avoiding the sale or mentioning your services altogether. It's about leading with value and building relationships, but you still need to make sure that there's a clear path for clients to take when they're ready to work with you. I say, if you're sending a weekly email, I would send one that sells your services at least once a month, or reminds them of how they can work with you, or offers a discovery call at least once a month. Probably better if you did it twice a month, so 50% of the time. But again, it's there hidden in the value, and so it doesn't feel overly pushy or salesy. I don't want you to forget to include calls to action on these things. That's one thing that I was horrible at. I never asked for the sale. I just wanted to provide value. And don't get lost in that for sure. And then I want you to set realistic expectations. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Most of what I recommend to clients is not about a quick fix. It's not a quick sale. It's about building relationships and trust, and that takes time. Okay, but the payoff is always worth it. You might not see immediate results like tomorrow, right? But over time, you'll build a stronger, more loyal client base that's not only interested in your services, but enthusiastic about recommending you to others. By integrating this method into your business, you're going to be creating a sales process that feels authentic, is effective, and aligns with your values. It's about making meaningful connections that lead to lasting success. So again, as you're thinking about how to leverage LinkedIn and get business, I want you to think about moving people off of LinkedIn onto your email list through a lead magnet, then serving them value and working through the anti-sleaze sales method, right? That's how you're going to build your coaching business, okay? So I'm here to answer any of your questions. I know that there's a delay, so I'll do a couple of my frequently asked questions. How long does it take to see results? This is more of a marathon than a sprint. But feel free to type your questions in the chat and I will answer them as soon as I take my notes off the screen. But it's about building trust and relationships over time. Some coaches start to see engagement and interest increase within a few weeks. Some take a few months. Some people, I was talking to someone who didn't really see much results from her email list until I think it was probably around the 14-month mark, because she was very carefully building her list. Now, the key though is this consistency and patience in what you're doing. Another question I get, what if I'm just starting out, don't have a lot of content to offer? That's okay, and that's probably better than what a lot of us have done, which is gone out and created a ton of content. So if you're new, start small, okay? Focus on quality over quantity. Brian Dean, who's the founder of Backlinko, it's a SEO tool. He is one of my favorite blog post people. So he would post these humongous blog posts that thoroughly covered a topic. He might have little videos and research and a bunch of other things. I think his blog post came out once a quarter, maybe. But they beat everything else out there, right? Content wise. So don't be afraid to do a less is more approach when it comes to your content. Just a few well-crafted pieces of content can make a big impact. As you grow, so will your value vault. So if you have any questions, again, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll be getting to them in just a second. In case there aren't any questions, because often there aren't, we'll quickly recap the key points that we talked about: the importance of leading with generosity, building trust through genuine relationships, using a client-centered approach to selling your services. The 5 pillars we talked about are the value vault, the problem solver, the relationship builder, and the soft sell storyteller. And finally, the invitation, not the sale. These are all designed to help you create a sales process that feels authentic and aligns with your values. This is about shifting your mindset from selling to serving. So that way you don't dread phone calls and meetings and things like that, right? Go into every meeting thinking about, how can I help this person? And sometimes it's not your services. And you know what? I love it when it's not, because then I'm actually able to give you valuable information and a valuable referral. So think about how you can start implementing these strategies today. Take a look at your current marketing efforts, your current posting, and think about where you can incorporate more of these pillars. It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul, right? Small, consistent changes can make a really big difference over time. Finally, if you found this helpful and want to go deeper into strategies, I am going to invite you to join me in a couple of weeks. Stay tuned for more information. I have a webinar coming up that will be about how to get 5 clients a month consistently from your business. So if you want to reach out to me, please don't hesitate. I know we've got 97 people tuned in, but it seems that people like to multitask a lot of times when we're on these. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would be happy to chat with you. You can join my mailing list if you're not on it already by going to kendracorman.com/leverage LinkedIn. And next week, I will be sharing all of the news about the webinar that's coming up. I think I've got the webinar starting September 12th, and registration will be opening up on the 3rd. So I will be running a few Facebook ads for that, and it will also be going out to my email newsletter list starting the week of the 3rd. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I just want to encourage you all to have a great rest of your day.